A lot of manufacturers think the solution to their hiring problem is hiring more recruiters. And don't get me wrong, recruiters have their place. I mean, I was a recruiter for almost 20 years. But if your recruiting team is spending all day chasing people who don't answer the phone, sorting through unqualified applicants, or posting the same jobs over and over again on job boards, adding another recruiter probably isn't going to solve the problem. It's just going to give you another person doing the same thing. The real question is, how do you generate applications without relying entirely on recruiters? How do you generate applicants without relying entirely on recruiters? Because if you can figure that out, everything changes. Now, one of the biggest things that I hear from manufacturers is nobody wants to work anymore. I hear that all the time. And every time I hear it, I think that's probably not the actual problem. Are there fewer people available than years ago? Sure. There are different career options today than there used to be. People have more choices. But the bigger issue is usually this. The people you want, they're not looking. Your ideal applicants are already employed. They're already driving trucks. They're already running machines. They're already welding. They're already working maintenance. They're already doing the exact job you're trying to hire for. So, if you're waiting for them to show up on a job board, you're waiting for them to decide that they're unhappy enough to start searching. That's a pretty small window. And it's why so many companies feel like they're fishing in the same pond as everybody else. Because they are. Every job board looks almost exactly the same. The same job descriptions, the same requirements, the same buzzwords, the same promises. And from the applicant's perspective, it gets exhausting. They're applying to what they think are multiple opportunities, and half the time it's the same position syndicated across multiple platforms. Meanwhile, employers are getting duplicate applications from multiple sources. Nobody really wins. So, what do you do instead? You start showing up where people already are. And that's where video becomes incredibly powerful. Not because it goes viral. Probably won't go viral. I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about YouTube. You don't need millions of views. You don't need hundreds of thousands of subscribers. You don't need any of that. You just need the right people to see the right information. That's it. When someone watches a video about your company, they learn things a job ad really couldn't ever communicate. They see your facility. They hear your people talk. They understand what the culture is actually like. They get a realistic expectation of the work. They can see what a day in the life of actually looks like. And suddenly, they're not applying blindly. They're making a more informed decision. That's important because good applicants want information. They want clarity. They want to know what they're walking into. And video gives them just that. A job description usually doesn't. And here's the other benefit. The videos work when you're not working. A recruiter can only have so many conversations in a day. A video can have thousands. A recruiter has to repeat themselves and answer the same thing over and over again. A video answers the questions every single day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether you're in the office or you're not. That's exactly what I discovered years ago when I started making videos as a recruiter. I wasn't trying to become an influencer. That wasn't even a thing back then. I wasn't trying to go viral. I was tired of having the same conversation over and over again. I was tired of spending time with people who weren't qualified. So I started answering common questions on video. And what happened was pretty interesting. The right people started finding the videos. They got educated before they ever contacted me. Some people opted out because they realized that the job wasn't for them, which was great. Others reached out already understanding what we offered, which made the recruiting process dramatically easier. That's the power of content. It pre-qualifies. It educates, it builds trust, and it creates awareness with people who otherwise wouldn't ever know there was an opportunity or that the opportunity existed. So if you're wondering how manufacturers can generate applicants without recruiters, the answer isn't getting rid of recruiters altogether. No, it's really not. The answer is building a system that attracts and educates people before a recruiter ever gets involved. And video is one of the most effective ways I've seen to do just that. Because the companies that win hiring today, they aren't necessarily the ones spending the most money. They're the ones doing the best job of helping the right people understand who they are before the application ever happens. And when you do that, recruiting gets a whole lot easier. If you're watching this and you're realizing that your hiring strategy is still heavily dependent on job boards, recruiters, and hoping applicants show up, I've got something that can help you. It's called the Workforce Attraction Blueprint. It's a strategic guide that I put together for manufacturing leaders who want to stop chasing workers and start attracting them. Inside, I break down the exact framework for creating awareness and building trust and generating qualified applicants without relying on outside recruiters, expensive paid leads, or posting the same jobs over and over again. So if you'd like a copy, click the link below and grab it.